I think there is, and this is the strength of what you're doing, Nathan, I think, is offering that individual the dignity of an audience and not mocking him. And I think that gives them a. Now, there are some street epistemologists who do not offer that courtesy. I've been a part of that. I've been on the receiving end of that.
Right.
But what you're doing and the way you, Nathan, are applying it gives the individual dignity and courtesy, which is going to afford him more of an ability to reflect and to share how he thinks he knows.
Like higher power, confident. Christianity is true, confident. Allah, not confident. Karma, not confident. Law of attraction, not confident. Prayer, confident. Climate change, not confident. Evolution,
man-made climate change, man-made aspect of there's more to that.
Right. Evolution, not confident. Ghosts, confident. Vampires, not confident. Aliens as demonic manifestation, confident. Astrology, not confident. Flat Earth, not confident. Magic, don't know. What do you mean? As illusions?
Like a
right. I spelled it with a K, since many people I know think of magic as like a ritualistic practice that can influence the external world. It depends on who you're talking to, really.
It's like, is it Satan's ritual or is it like Penn and Teller? I didn't know what you meant.
Right, like voodoo or something, right? If it were like voodoo, would you be confident in that or no?
I'd be confident it's a real power. Yes.
Oh, you would be confident that it's real?
There's a supernatural reality to this. Yes.
Okay. Tarot cards, confident. Vaccines. So I'm actually like kind of
tarot cards are the same thing under the supernatural realm of ceremonial ritual and things like that. I think there is a power.
Should I just take vaccines out? Maybe you have no opinion.
I have no idea. I don't even know what that topic is.
Okay, that's fine, because YouTube will probably take the video down if I talk about it anyway, so I'll just cut it out.
I don't even know anything about that. So
some people claim that there's a connection between vaccines and autism, and if we all get vaccines, then everyone's gonna or something. So
are you talking about the coronavirus vaccine?
Actually, this predates that. This is it was started with a study that was under really bad conditions in the 60s, and since then lots of people think that vaccines and have a connection, and that belief has prevented many people of getting vaccinated. So it actually does alter the decisions people I
bet
take. Tarot cards, confident there is a power behind them, but not.
So in other words, that I believe, having accepted the supernatural realm of Christianity, I think there are a lot of open doors to the demonic and the spiritual and supernatural. And so I think tarot cards, not accurate, but an open door with real supernatural power behind it.
Okay.
Same with that voodoo and magic ritual.
Demons, confident. Speaking in tongues, confident. and reincarnation not confident.
Yes.
Okay. What are your thoughts in general overall about that list?
It's a curious list that
right.
we could certainly spend hours talking about each one of those.
We could, right?
Yeah.
So, as a street epistemologist, the only one I haven't actually heard anyone say when they sit down at my booth to tell me what it is that they believe, the only one I haven't actually heard is vampires.
Yeah, that was a little odd. I didn't know that was
I threw that one in just to have one that was like as far out as I possibly could in there, just to see what would happen.
I don't doubt there are people that are like, you have the Jeffrey Dahmers out of the world out there that are, I don't think you call that a classic vampire. It's just, but there are probably evil folks out there that do that kind of stuff, I'm sure. But not in the Bram Stoker sort of dress up like a man from Transylvania.
Right. I have had people tell me that they believe that there are actual mermaids, though.
I never heard that one.
Yeah, people have sat down at my table and they've told me that mermaids are real.
That's real.
What was that?
I said, wow.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
That'd be pretty cool.
Okay.
If somebody told me that, I would like really be interested to know.
Right?
How did you see? I wouldn't make fun of them. I would like, tell me, where did you see this? That's really cool.
Now I'm really starting to feel like you can relate to me a bit, because I love talking to people, and I love talking. I love to just sit and listen for hours. I could just go for hours and listen.
Yeah. I would not make fun of anybody who had a positive experience in those things. I would want to know, where did you see this? That's really cool. We had a meteor explode over the house last night, by the way.
Really cool. Really? That's cool.
Oh my gosh, it was awesome.
If somebody believes in something like mermaids or vampires, do you think that believing or accepting something like that, like if somebody uses an epistemology to accept vampires and or mermaids, that epistemology that they're using could allow them to, well, what are your general thoughts on that? I'm hearing you say you would investigate and ask them how they know what they know.
I think most people who would say most, I don't know. I just had a couple of interviews with a doctor in philosophy on our podcast, and I read 2 or 3 books on the topic, and not just epistemology, but philosophy in general. It's a complicated subject, even if you try to understand it from a philosophical doctorate level person who writes books related. So I think somebody that comes to your table with the concept of mermaid, probably, I'm just throwing this out there, I've never heard of epistemology. So a lot of what makes straight epistemology popular is that so many people don't even know what you're talking about when it comes to epistemology. So I think, and I'm talking to evangelical Christians here on our podcast, introducing this philosophical concept to people that have probably never heard it for the first time. And these are educated, 9-to-5ers who are in big evangelical churches. And it's a tricky concept to know how we know. So I think that, and, we're having Tim McGrew and Graham Oppie on our book club next week. It's a hard,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's a hard concept, Nathan, to unpack how we think about our thinking.
Yeah.
And so
sure.
I think isolating and identifying our epistemic toolkit is a lifelong thing, and it's not easy. It's not easy to have a properly justified belief and to be able to articulate it, and to even think about the idea of an epistemic method that led me to conclude what I believe. That's a hard question for a majority of people who don't spend time thinking about thinking, and so I wouldn't fault the guy, the mermaid guy, for not knowing what I'm talking about in terms of if I mention the word epistemology. Like, what? What's an epistle?
Right.
Is that a kind of
I actually
fish?
avoid that label most of the time, and I usually just mention it as a way for them to look up what it is that I'm doing later. And that's really
But
the only reason I use that label. Otherwise, I
Mhm.
just say, I'm asking questions about how you know what it is you know.
Right. So
Yeah.
let's take it this way. How somebody would ask me, well, how did you get to know Nathan, man? It's like, what method did you use to get to know Nathan? And it's not a it's not a wrong question really, but it's kind of a weird question. How would I say, what method did I use to get to know my next door neighbors?
Right. So that question
It's
though, to get to know Nathan, in that framing, I hear that you know everything about Nathan. Whereas if the question were instead, how could you know that Nathan is real or alive? That one word added to it makes it much more clear as to whether or not it could be true or false. Um, and so,
Yeah, I agree. There's two different questions there, and so I would say, would you say that I would be justified in saying that Nathan is the evidence of his own existence, no matter what I say? Is that am I justified in saying, well, Nathan told me, and so and then you would say that ultimately, epistemically, you are sufficient evidence for your own existence, or are you? So I could
well,
say
you
Nathan
talked with
told me.
T Jump for like hours on that, on
So I
the
could
open
say
to
Nathan
4 a.m.
told me. Yeah, I could say Nathan told me. Would that be sufficient? Nathan told me who he was. Nathan told me he was alive. Would that be sufficient?
Hmm.
And and then it comes down to what, the other issue with street epistemology, as you know, is addressing the question of the sufficiency of evidence for one's beliefs. Who is establishing the criteria for sufficiency of evidence? And I think that's another difficult concept because there are epistemic tools and presuppositions behind how we justify our evidential presuppositions. What's the standard we use to assess whether or not there is a certain criteria of evidence that's been met? So these are very difficult, very challenging, very good questions, I think. What's in our epistemic toolkit and how do we know? But getting back to the mermaid guy, could you fault him for never having thought about how he came to believe in mermaids? What if he saw one, or I think there is, and this is the strength of what you're doing, Nathan, I think, is offering that individual the dignity of an audience and not mocking him.
Mm.
And I think that gives him now there are some street epistemologists who do not offer that courtesy. I've been a part of that. I've been on the receiving end of that.
Right.
But what you're doing and the way you, Nathan, are applying it gives the individual dignity and courtesy, which is going to afford him more of an ability to reflect and to share how he thinks he knows, as opposed to where I felt like in that certain conversation with Mr. Tom,
Mr. Jump.
that Mr. Jump, that was not conducive. Like Tom didn't really want to know what I believed. He wanted to crush my beliefs.
Mm.
And so I just kind of mentally, I just kind of shut down. I wasn't interested in the conversation about 20 minutes into it. And I didn't want to make him look bad. I wasn't angry. I was just literally kind of went into a mental funk. My mind just kind of went fuzzy because I'm like, oh, he's here to just make me look like a fool. And I fell for it.
Yeah.
And
that must be frustrating.
So, I mean, I like to think that I go into conversations just generally willing to share, realizing people are going to push back on me. But I've been trapped before, and when I do, I just shut down because part of my difficulty has been all my life dealing with depression, and so there are some triggers. When I know somebody's just out to sort of make me look bad, and I don't get mad. I just get kind of sad, and I don't want to do it. So I think, and watching a couple of your videos recently, I think you have genuine intent to want to be ethical about what you're doing. And so I think that involves not belittling people, which is why I'm talking to you, because I don't think you're out to do that. And if I thought you were, I wouldn't be talking to you. And so you have a very ethical concern for the people that you talk to, and you genuinely love talking to people. and you want to know why people think what they think. And so I think you provide a platform, and that's half the battle of getting people to think about why they believe what they believe. And that's wonderful.
Right.
But I'm not going to try to undermine that and say you have some sort of sinister ulterior motive, because I won't do that about somebody unless they reveal that themselves. But I think that's a genuine good thing if more people do street epistemology that way. Like I think that the recent video you guys did with Mark, I think that was good. I mean, there was one point where, the guy got very personal about his loss. Mark was very compassionate about that. And that's the kind of thing that'll will bring about more people to open up to your ILs, to open up to you. So I think compassion, ethics, sincerity, love for people. You're not trying to catch me or to get me to change my mind. That's a great foundation. I think anybody can agree with that. So I don't know if that even answered your question.
No, that was all good to hear, because it's very reassuring, because that's what I'm going for. Because I really do think that people in America, like I got my degree in political science. I love this country, though it pains me to see people not talk to each other anymore. And yeah, like I think that you and I would fill out this list very differently. Though I think that it's great that we're talking, and that we can think so differently about these things and not let it be something that is interfering with our ability to relate to one another or see eye to eye to one another. And so, yeah, absolutely. That was why I was interested in reaching out and talking with you.
Now, what I could say, and I wouldn't say, like so I know you're not a Christian,
right?
But I might say, okay, well, he's a skeptic. But then I would also caveat that and say, I don't know if Nathan wants me to be an atheist, or if he's just an atheist who really likes talking to people and has found a way that enables him to do that. That's a ground level psychological evaluation I can't do, and I won't do, because I don't know you. And it seems to me, from all fronts that I've seen and interacted with you, that you're genuinely interested in these conversations and wanting to see people, think about why they believe. I think that's genuinely your motive. That's what I think. Now, You're an atheist. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe you want people to become atheists. I don't know. But I don't get that sneaky vibe from you. I don't think you're out to get me. And even if you wanted to, fine. Okay, let's have that conversation. If you want to.
What I'd like to do is learn.
You don't come across that way.
I want to learn from people, and I also want people to reflect on their own thought process. And I want to reflect with them. So like, I feel like a lot of people, like I scroll through my Facebook feed every morning and I'm just like bewildered by how much overconfidence there is in all sorts of things. Look at everything on this list that you put not confident. Can you imagine somebody who is confident, who thinks those things?
Oh,
and vice versa, right?
Right.
And
you try to be like our book club. I mean, we have wonderful Christians and atheists in our book club every month, and some of our friends are. I don't agree with anything they say, not anything, but we've been friends. A lot of us have been together for 4 years, and we used to have dinner together before our clubs, before coronavirus. So I'm constantly more and more okay with hearing some wild things from people, and what I would consider to be, but without putting them down. You can have you can have passionate disagreement about things. I had a nice exchange. It was lively and civil today with a couple of guys about cosmology on Twitter today. It was a lot of fun, a lot of sparring, but it wasn't, I was never going to go, well, you're an idiot. You don't know anything about what you're talking about. That's non-productive. You can be direct and civil and kind and listen, empathetically listen.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Whatever your epistemology is.
I love this talk, but I'm also kind of like, oh man, no one's gonna want to sit through like 2 hours of two guys like compliment each other the whole time. So maybe what we could do, yeah. So maybe what we could do is, so I've got like all day. I could be at this all for hours and hours. I'm wondering though, should we take a break for like an hour or two and maybe pick it up, or try calling in tomorrow to pick up where we leave off from today?
Well, I've got a loaded baked potato of a plate for the rest of the week. I got to prepare for my book club. I got to prepare for my book club tomorrow. Okay. I have a huge podcast to edit for next week. I have a monumental stack of reading that I have to do for 5 upcoming podcasts. Okay. So the best I could offer you in maybe another hour next week sometime, if you want to try to find a spot for that.
I can call you back in an hour if you want.
I am going to bed.
Oh, you are going
10 o'clock in Texas. Yeah.
Oh, really? It looks like there's a beam of sunlight on your face, but I guess that's a light.
That's my spotlight.
Okay.
Yeah. My little reading lamp. But anyway, I'm becoming mildly mentally incoherent right now.
Right. And that's the thing, like I'm trying to, because I like long form discussions, whereas a lot of the other SE content is like 5 minutes to half hour.
Sure.
And they push real hard. And I want to like this to be like a really easygoing, long process where we take as much time as we need. So what we should do then is just, I'll pin this, I'll save this discussion, and then we can pick up maybe in a week or so, or whenever you've got time, and we'll pick up where we leave off. And I'm going to keep this link to the way that you filled out the survey, and also the claims here on the list. And what I want to do is ask questions about epistemology, and whether or not, if somebody were to take the opposite position on any one of these things, how interested you would be in investigating those beliefs with street epistemology. What would be the motivation to investigate a belief in astrology, for example? If you're not a believer in astrology, would there be no motivation to investigate that belief, or would there be some? This is the direction I want to go with the talk, and I want to know what would inspire you to have those talks with those people, both for things that you agree in and disagree in, and then I would like to go through the survey with you at some point, and that's what I have planned. Yeah. Though I also have time right now. Did you have any questions for me before we go?
No, I'm assuming you want to make this into something on your channel.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. Like right now, as is, we just scratched the surface and said hello and howdy doody, and then we talked about the scale. That was a fun part. And we talked about, we reflected on all sorts of different concepts and words and things like that. Though I don't feel like we really got started on an actual investigation into your beliefs, and that's fine. I don't mind just chatting with you and not doing SE. Though I think that if I could have another opportunity, I would like to go through the survey, much like we did for the workshop that you showed up to, and figure out the kinds of questions that you would ask using the survey. I see you yawn.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm impolite.
For me, it's 8, and I stay up till like 2, 3 in the morning all the time because I have that terrible.
How old are you?
Like 30. I'm about to turn 35 this month.
Wow. Yeah. Well, 52, man. Your body's just like it doesn't.
Well, I know what that's like because I have psoriatic arthritis. So like every morning is like 2 hours of me trying.
What kind of arthritis is that?
Normal. What was that?
What kind of arthritis is that?
It's an inflammatory arthritis.
Oh.
So I get it, like some people just get it in their hands. I get it in my ankle and my back and my elbow. It's all over. Yeah.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and the worst part is there's brain fog in the morning. That's a recent development, which really is not fun. Uh,
Ooh.
and then, so I have to eat like a lot of anti-inflammatory foods, and I got to stay active, and I got to exercise and get a good sleep and stuff. And I'm bad at all that.
Oh
Uh,
man. Yeah.
yeah, it's pretty rough. But at the same time, there's ways to treat it, and there's things that I can do, and I feel like it doesn't hinder me too much. It's just the mornings. The mornings I can't do mornings. I'm not a normal person in the morning. Once I get through
Mm,
then I feel fine. So
okay.
yeah.
Well, yeah, I hate to leave you with such little information, but I think
That's
if I
fine.
go
I
any
really
further, I'm
didn't
not
have
going
much of an agenda. The only thing I wanted was to give you the survey once more and then the list of beliefs. And then I wanted to talk about the scale of confidence and how you viewed it. I wanted to talk about street epistemology and how you viewed it. And I feel like I achieved what I set out to do. Though
Cool.
there's so much more. Like I
Yeah.
watched your debates with T Jump and how that went. And like my channel is about something very different. It's about like having real meaningful conversations with other people that don't think the same way I do.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and have that be okay and fine, though also respectfully challenging their notion in order to figure out the reliable methods that they use to figure out what they figured out, so that if I can uncover the way they did it, then I want to know it too. And because I want to know true things. Though also, I have this imaginary roster or yeah, I guess a roster in my head of beliefs that are probably true and beliefs that I'm unaware of that are false. And I have no idea what they are, because if I could find them, then I'd point to them and I'd be like, yo, get out of here, you false belief. uh, but I don't know what they are. Like I sometimes wonder, like, how many are there? Are there a bunch or just a few? Or maybe by the very nature of truth itself, every single one of them is slightly askew into the false.
Mm-hmm.
And how would I identify these things and how would I know? And just thinking about it and thinking about reality and the cosmos, they're just so fun to me. So,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
all right, well, let's if you had a good time, I had a good time. Let's pencil it in
No, it's
for like
fine.
in a week or so. And if I end up editing anything and cutting it down, I'll send you what I plan on posting. And then
No, I'm fine with. I would just say the only thing I would ask that you actually cut out would be.
well, how about this?
And
We'll work that out later. I'll send you everything, and then you just be like this part, and you give me a timestamp, and we can work it out together. Because
yeah,
I'm trying to do. I'm
through that
here
rigmarole
to,
again.
right. Well, I'm probably gonna have to cut all of that part out too. So we should probably move on.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. It's like once
Sorry.
it cuts back in, it's just gonna be me saying we have to cut all that out, and that will be the explanation for why it's out.
Sorry. Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
But hey, man, I really appreciate you. I have a lot of respect for you coming on and sharing your views with me. And we'll get into it a bit deeper next time.
Sure.
All right, dude. Thanks.
See ya. Talk to you later.
All right. Take care.
Bye.